All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome one and welcome all to the one, the only Junk Shop Library channel, home of Improv Bible Study, the atheist Bible study where we read every single word of the King James Version and then rip it a new asshole because it's an outdated, misogynistic pile of crap. That sounds appealing to you. Stick around. Hit the thumbs up, maybe. Hit it. Hit the thumbs up. How's everybody doing today? I see we got some folks filing into the chat here. Good to see everybody, as usual. Let me move my cursor off of that remove from stream button. Yeah, Diary of Lydia says, well, that's an introduction and a half. Yep. Well, I don't want anybody to be under any false impressions as to what they're getting around here. No false pretenses. Right here. Oh, that's right. You had a birthday, didn't you? Happy belated birthday. I'm not on Facebook, so I don't remember when anybody's damn birthday is. Sorry about that. Yeah, never again. That's one of the reasons why I just kind of blather and stall for a minute. And one of the reasons why I love to use Brainbug's fantabulous intro, because it gives me a little buffer time, because I never know exactly when the damn thing's going to go live. Greg Hardwick, hello. I have seen your name, heard your name, maybe, I think. I don't recollect seeing you around here before, though, so welcome. Good to see you. All right. Have we announcements today? We've got one. Sometime in the next not too terribly long from now, we're going to be starting a new series here on the channel. I had been putting it off and had planned to put it off any longer, but when I floated the idea over on Twitter, the reaction was more positive than I thought it would be. And then when I announced it, it was yet even more positive still. I have to find out when I'm going to do the series because I'm already streaming 6 days a week and I'm in danger of overlapping everybody else's streams if I try to add anything else. But we're going to be plunging into, here before too much terribly longer, the Book of Mormon, which I've never read. Not one single word of it have I ever read. I was not taught any fraction of it in Sunday school and church, growing up in my Sunday school and church days. So, unlike the Bible, God damn it. Unlike the Bible, where I've been able to reach back to some interpretation and remember some apologetics, this is going to be straight off the cuff. Improv and no mistake. It's gonna be interesting. Stick around. Hey, it's Wild Eden, a new friend of the channel. Good to see you. Welcome. Mark Caesar says I should take the lead of the Beatles and go for 8 days a week. And Mark Caesar is out of his damn mind. Yeah, that was a Trump hold, wasn't it, Brainbug? That was not intentional. All right. In terms of other announcements, we're back on the regular schedule, and I've been calling it back on the regular schedule for some time now, so y'all probably know by now. We do the Improv Bible Study on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do the Mental Health Thursdays Positivity Hangout on Thursday, surprisingly, also at 3 p.m. Eastern. Then Saturday and Sunday we have normally patrons only streams, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Y'all let me know when when might be a good time for the Book of Mormon study, if y'all are at all interested in that. My DMs are open on Twitter. You can reach me through the messaging or comment function if you're over with me on Patreon, or you can just let me know in the comments below, and that might even be the best way, because the comments below are a little bare and always have been. Though I see y'all who are hanging out down there from time to time. I see y'all and I appreciate y'all, and so do the analytics. No, I did not tear gas some protesters. Bah, humbug. Hey, Harmonica Man, good to see you. All right. Before we get too much further into things, y'all bear with me with the raucous racket outside. We've got work being done on the roofs here in the complex, and it's annoying. Trust me. But anyway, as I was saying, before we get too much further into things, I got to thank my patrons. There is a wonderful collection of people who have visited the address scrolling at the bottom of your screen that you see now, and contributed to the channel in a financial way. They are keeping us afloat here, and they're keeping us streaming to you in the quality and at the frequency to which you have become accustomed. And they're the reason we're able to do things like decide to add a new study for no readily discernible reason in the middle of the month. And those folks are, in some reasonable approximation of alphabetical order-ish, the Atheist Pastor, Aunt Jer, B, Bill, Brainbug, Espresso Cat, Gary, Ilya Moon, Kim, the Lavender Lady, Linda, the Lone Wanderer, M, Microraptor, Mama Atheist, Nikki, Ox, Paul, Rain, Robert X, Santi the Sane, and new patron, Wild Eden. Thank you all so very, very much. Literally could not do what we're doing without you, and can't really readily articulate how much I appreciate it. It really does mean the world. Get out of my way, notifications. You're blocking my chat. Stop it. Little Wolf, hello. Amiga Nuts, dropping the links already. Ready as ever to build the community. Thank you so very much, my friend, for all the work that you do for us. All right. Now, speaking of patrons, under normal circumstances, whatever that fucking means, under normal circumstances, we have a stream at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, where we have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything, and no particular theme necessarily carrying on from week to week. We've tried a few things, we've done a few things, and we've largely enjoyed them all. All of which is to say, we're not having a stream tomorrow. I posted about it over on Patreon, but I know that Patreon and I don't necessarily get along necessarily real well, necessarily all the time. So I needed to come on and tell y'all specifically today that there won't be a stream tomorrow on this channel, because old Junk Shop is going to be hanging out over on the Rage at that during that block of time, along with the ever wonderful Mr. Paul Kamish and a variety of other people. Oh yes, you're right, Paul, I did. Sorry, I got to bounce over into another screen whilst I babble. Y'all bear with me 1 second. What was I babbling about? Oh, the stream tomorrow. Yes. We're going to be taking a look at the... come on. Open up. There we go. Yeah! Mute. Thank you. Thank you, Megan Nuts, dropping the rage link. Thank you. I need to be in live chat. Wild Eden. Okay. Sorry, I got to remember to ask pronouns. I'm not good at remembering that. I apologize. No, I don't want to hide. I want to. That would be weird and rude. There we go. Okay, close that. Close that. Back out of that. Ta-da! And here we are. Okay. Yes, we're going to be hanging out on the Rages channel, continuing the discussion that that we had this morning about Matt Powell's new movie, The Atheist Religion, wherein Matt Powell does his usual Matt Powell thing of quote mining and statistics making up and just generally makes an ass out of himself. And so we're gonna rip him a new asshole, which he so severely deserves because he is a jerk and a generally all-around bad person. There, I said it. Matt Powell's a bad person. Come at me, bro. All right. Well, so much for that. There was something else I was going to tell y'all. I can't remember what it was. It'll come to me if it's important. In the meantime, the book of Isaiah calls, because old Junk Shop just spent 10 minutes doing announcements, and old Junk Shop needs to figure out how to trim down the announcement time a little better and in a little more organized fashion. All right, we left off last time with the incredibly short chapter 12 of Isaiah, which means we'll be turning to my poor Bible. I bought this mess at the dollar store 2 years ago, and it's seen a lot of hard use and been thrown across the room a few times over the course of the intervening time. All right, chapter 13. The book of the prophet Isaiah. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. And the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore all hands shall be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man in the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of their womb. The eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Okie dokie. Yeah, so loving. Exactly, little wolf. All right, so we spent all this damn time I keep almost saying last week. It was just the day before yesterday, Wednesday. We spent all this time Wednesday talking about how the Assyrian will come out of the east and lay waste to Israel and to Judah. But then there's going to come a time when everything's okay again. And the remnant that remains, as the 1611 phrasing so interestingly put it, the remnant that remains of Israel will rise up and return to their home and strike off the yoke of the oppressor and, all that kind of stuff that they do every few generations. Get exiled, come back, forsake God. Get exiled, repent, come back, forsake God. It goes on and on and on and over and over and over. This has been going on since the books of the Kings, like 200 fucking pages ago. But lest we forget, the tools of God's fierce anger are only that, tools. And when God's done with them, he has a tendency to smite them in turn. So, this is the prophecy of what's going to happen to poor Babylon after God gets bored of playing with them and beating up Israel and Judah with the hordes of Babylon. He's going to destroy it so utterly that there's nothing left there except the dancing satyrs and the owls. Except, of course, for the women who don't get murdered, they get ravished instead. You got to remember, this is a point in the book where the women are still property, except for your very occasional exception, usually rich widows and or prostitutes. But yeah, here's yet another example of the Lord God Almighty, the Prince of Peace, the Lord of Lords, smiting everybody in his path, including the children, including the babies, and not sparing, as it said, not sparing the fruit of the womb. But remember, he's a loving God, and it's a religion of peace. Yeah. Probably better not to be a tool of the wrath of the Lord, because when he gets bored, you're going to get smoked. If ever there was a prime example of a chapter ripe for some use of the verb to smite in whatever tense, you would think we would have gotten some smiting in that chapter. Did we? No. Lots of thrusting, as Little Wolf points out, but no. No smiting. Just damn near every other transitive verb you can imagine, but no smite. It's a shame. Smite counter sits at 0 for the nth chapter in a row, it seems. 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass, in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feller is come up amongst us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy viols. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land, and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed Yep. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city. Thou, whole Palestina, art dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. And there we have chapter 14. Nice little flourish of revenge fiction, isn't it? Hey, GeoSam, Ox, welcome. Yeah, it's another prophecy of the smiting of the smiters. He that wounds my people, yea, shall it be wounded upon him 7 times. I don't know what this sudden appearance of the cockatrice is. Like the last couple of chapters, it's got to be some kind of weird translation moment. Dragons in Genesis would know what it is. Because I'm having to dig way back into my fairy tale childhood memory. The cockatrice, and somebody knows, and somebody will correct me when I'm wrong. Cockatrice was a like half rooster, half serpent, kind of little bitty dragon looking critter that turned you to stone if you made eye contact with it. Is that... That's what I'm remembering. Like a basilisk? Brain bug? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wild Eden says, wasn't there a cockatrice in Alice in Wonderland? That rings a faint bell. All of my copies of Alice in Wonderland are barricaded behind the law books right now. I've got to rearrange this room. Yeah, it's just revenge fiction. I know you tread hard under the heel of the Assyrian and the Babylonian right now, but someday you will rise up against him and smite his children and his nephew. I mean, I understood what it was saying about, killing off the seed of the oppressor, that he may no more rise up and fill the earth. But, hey, Lone Wanderer. All right. Hello. Excellent. Cockatrice, a mythical beast, essentially a 2-legged dragon or serpent-like creature with a rooster's head. Okay, that's kind of vaguely the image I had in my head, but I didn't remember. And Robert X, hello, welcome. There's all kinds of cool people in here today. I love it. So, I mean, it was a lot of very flowery, vengefully language. Yes, all my copies, Mark Caesar. I'm not entirely sure how many we have. I have multiple, Julie has multiple, and then we combined the household and had more multiples still. Some of them illustrated, some of them not, some of them in compilations with others of Carol's works, and some of them not. You know how it is. I know. You have a Kindle. I know. Okay. I mean, some nice, flowery, poetic language, but not really a lot of content. Just word that the... What am I running up against? Oh, it's the other chair. You know what would help that? If I didn't constantly fidget with my chair back and forth to make y'all dizzy and annoyed. And people believe this book. Says Little Wolf. Yeah, I know, right? Believe it and try to make other people live their lives by its strictures. Little Wolf says, glad I know you're talking about books again. I must have missed something in the chat going by. Geo Sam, Mark Caesar has a Kindle, and he never lets us forget it. Other than the weird sidelong smiting of the nephew, was there anything, and the detour about the cockatrice, was there anything interesting in there? I mean, there is the fact that I'm kind of idly curious to know what it was that the 1611 scribes didn't know what to translate and so called it a cockatrice instead. But beyond that, I don't know. Thank you, Amiga Nuts. I keep forgetting to plug that. We are having the Body of Christ taste test as our, hopefully, 250 subscriber celebration stream on the 4th Sunday of Advent. That's the 20th of it's December now, 20th of this month, which will be here before we know it. Because the time is just blasting by. All right, 15. The burden of Moab. Because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. Because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. He is gone up to Bajith and to Dibon, the high places, to weep. Moab shall howl over Nebo and over Medeba. On all their heads shall be baldness, and every beard cut off. In their streets they shall gird themselves with sackcloth. On the tops of their houses and in their streets every one shall howl, weeping abundantly. And Heshbon shall cry, and Elieleh. Their voices shall be heard even unto Jahaz. Therefore the armed soldiers of Moab shall cry out. His life shall be grievous unto him. My heart shall cry out for Moab. His fugitives shall flee unto Zoar, an heifer of 3 years old. For by the mounting up of Luhith with weeping shall they go it up. For in the way of Horonaim they shall raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim shall be desolate, for the hay is withered away, the grass faileth, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up, shall they carry away to the brook of the willows. For the cry is gone round about the borders of Moab, the howling thereof unto Eglaim, and the howling thereof unto Beer Elim. For the waters of Demon shall be full of blood, for I will bring more upon Demon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. That's all there is to chapter 15. What the hell did I just read? I mean, I could tell that Moab's going to be smoked and shit, but that was not well phrased or constructed or put together. Do we even want to bother with comparative translation on this mess? Go it up, as Ox points out. Sometimes the way that book is wrote, I'd swear Yoda wrote it. Right? I mean, it's going to be bad for Moab in that day. In what day? The day everybody else is getting their ass beat too. When God finally gets tired of beating up on Israel and Judah and decides to make Zion great again. I don't know. Some of that, though, was virtually unintelligible. So we're going to turn, for some comparative translation, to the International Children's Bible, perfect for ages 7 to 12, supposedly. Let's see. Moab. All right, let's see. This is a message. I'm just going to read through it in the children's version because honestly, other than the fact that it's going to suck for Moab, I couldn't follow heads nor tails of that in the King James. This is a message about Moab. In one night, armies took the wealth from Ar in Moab. That night, the city was destroyed. In one night, armies took the wealth from Kir in Moab. That night, the city was destroyed. The people of Dibon go to the places of worship to cry. The people of Moab cry for the cities of Nebo and Medeba. Everyone has shaved his head and beard to show how sad he is. Sackcloth, sackcloth, blah, blah, blah. Heshbon, Elieleh. Even the soldiers are frightened. They are shaking from fear. They go to Eglath Shalishiah. People are going up the mountain road to Luhith. They are crying as they go. People are going on the road to Horonaim. They cry out loud over their destruction. But the water of Nimrim has dried up, blah, blah, blah. All the plants are dead, nothing green is left, blah, blah, blah. They carry their things and cross the ravine of the poplars. Crying is heard everywhere in Moab, as far away as Eglaim, as far away as Beer Elim. Dibon is full of blood, and there's going to be worse than that. A few people living in Moab have escaped the enemy, but I will send lions to kill them. Did I miss the lions? I missed the lions. I'm reading this fucking thing out loud, and I'm missing the lions. Yep, I literally read the words and read right past it. For the waters of Dimon shall be full of blood, for I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. Well, at least we know that's intended to be lions, because it doesn't survive all the way down to the children's version. If it was, dragons or cockatrices or whatever in the... Hey, Microraptor, welcome! Yes, I had great sorrow, for I had sinned in the sight of the Lord and seen the error of my ways. That's why I did this. Yep, lions in the New International, too. The study notes in the New International Study Bible say that lion in this context could be either the Assyrian army or actual lions. All right, well, there's that. Bibles everywhere. Nor any drop to drink. It is Nerdy Rodent. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Well, you've only been going 39. We can do chapter 16. Let's see who's going to get a burden told against them in this chapter, huh? Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that, as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. Take counsel, execute judgment, make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcasts, bewray not him that wandereth. Let mine outcasts dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at hand. The spoiler ceaseth. The oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness, and his pride, and his wrath. But his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab. Every one shall howl, for the foundations of Kir Hareseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. For the field of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah. The lords of the heathen have broken down the principal plants thereof. They are come even unto Jazer. They wandered through the wilderness. Her branches are stretched out. They are gone over the sea. Therefore I will bewail with the weeping of Jazer, the vine of Sibmah. I will water thee with my tears, O Heshbon, and Elealeh, for the shouting of thy summer fruits, and for thy harvest is fallen. And gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field. And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting. The treaders shall tread out no wine in their presses. I have made their vintage shouting to cease. Wherefore my bowels shall sound like an harp for Moab, and mine inward parts for Kir Haresh. And it shall come to pass, when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he shall come to his sanctuary to pray, but he shall not prevail. This is the word that the Lord hath spoken concerning Moab since that time. But now the Lord hath spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be contemned, and all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. And that's chapter 16. It ain't gonna do to be in Moab in the day of wrath, is it? God's gonna smite everything from the king to the grass of the field. Wow. Doesn't say anything about the babies or the fruit of the womb, though, like it did when it was talking about Babylon. So, who knows? Maybe the babies will survive, although how they're going to survive without grass or fruits or any harvest or anything would be a little unclear. Although we did just get the part in the last chapter where Israel is going to rule over them that ruled over them. So maybe they could get themselves taken captive by the Israelites. There's no conceivable way that could go badly. Yeah, what did the grass do wrong? Oh, this is a very wrathful prophet, is it not? We hadn't seen this kind of thus saith the Lord since fucking Elijah, way back there. I mean, there's not a lot going on, except that Isaiah wants it to be very, very, very clear how bad it's gonna be for the oppressors in the day when the oppression is done. God doesn't do much by half measures, you know. Just whole measures or nothing. Yeah, very weird book. Very weird book indeed. Do I still have that banner? I think I may have deleted that when we stopped doing that for a while. Weird fucking book. Yeah, I deleted that one. Oh well. Yes, you are correct. It is a very weird book. And very violent. Lots of smashing and crashing in this book of Isaiah. All right, well, so much for Moab. Who do you reckon is going to get smoked in the next chapter? Chapter 17, the burden of Damascus. Okay, did not see that coming. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They shall be for flocks, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. And it shall be as when the harvestman gathereth the corn, and reapeth the ears with his arm. And it shall be as he that gathereth ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaning grapes shall be left in it as the shaking of an olive tree. 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outermost fruitful branches thereof, saith the Lord God of Israel. At that day shall a man look to his Maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he shall not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, either the groves or the images. In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bough, and an uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel, and there shall be desolation. Because thou hast forgotten the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength, therefore shalt thou plant pleasant plants, and shalt set it with strange slips. In the day shalt thou make thy plant to grow, and in the morning shalt thou make thy seed to flourish. But the harvest shall be a heap in the day of grief and of desperate sorrow. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of mighty waters, but God shall rebuke them. And they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And behold, at evening tide, trouble, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. Well, I wonder what fucking Damascus did. Okay, but apparently they were in league with Ephraim when the children of Ephraim rose up against the duly anointed king of Israel. Jacob the ass. Yep. Y'all are having entirely too much fun. Yeah. So it's Damascus is going to be torn down to the extent that it's used as grazing ground, and there's nothing moving there even so much as to spook the sheep. It's not even going to be a sucky time for Damascus. They're just going to be gone. No more Damascus. Would have made the first Assassin's Creed game a lot easier, I'll tell you that. Free association! Improv! Let's see. And Israel's going to return to the Lord and turn away from the graven images and the fertility altars and all this stuff. But it won't do you no damn good, because you're going to plant pleasant plants and set strange slips. And your plant's going to grow. But when the harvest is come, it will be a dreadful thing. God needs to make up his mind whether he likes these people or not. To be such an all-powerful God, it's just it's very, very passive, except when his feelings get hurt. I don't know. There's just, I mean, it's more revenge fiction. You do kind of wonder what poor Damascus actually did do. I apologize for that sentence. And yet the oppressors are going to get their ass beat by God. So much for that. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. So shall it be to our enemies. So let it be written. So let it be done. As Greg points out, it's an abusive relationship. Yes. Yes, the relationship between God and his people is frequently compared to a human abusive relationship, and there's excellent reason for that, because it is. Microraptor says God is not very progressive. Doesn't seem to like some people just for their nationality. Yes, imagine that. A tribal, territorial God not liking the peoples of other tribes and territories. It boggles the mind, does it not, my friend? How does God hate what he made? Asks Ox. That's a great fucking question, isn't it? God needs to make up his fucking mind. And yet that's been the problem with this book from the very beginning. This is not the book of a tri-omni God. The God in this book gets lost, gets confused, forgets shit all the time, can't do math, gets out-wrestled by a teenager, gets out-bargained by a court prosecutor, is convinced otherwise by all manner of people. Some of those stories we've hit, and some of them we haven't. Wait for Ezekiel and the dung that cometh out of man. Needs more Enkidu, says Brainbug. Yep, that would certainly make this more interesting. Wild Eden says, because God hates himself and man was made in his image. That would actually make a lot of sense. If God was just a self-loathing introvert who, as the proverb says, we hate that most in others, which we despise most in ourselves. If God just saw a little too much of himself in his favored creation and lashed out at it that way. So Microraptor's talking about dung beetles. Let's see what she's on about. During that first week, God decided to make the dung beetle. What the biblical fuck? Yeah, if this God actually does exist, it's got a lot of weird shit to answer for. And we're not just talking about children's oncology wards and parasites that burrow into eyeballs and the kind of stuff that atheists love to belabor God about. I'm talking just about the weird shit here for a minute. We'll start with the dung beetles. What the hell is that? I'm going to make a huge ball of poop and eat it somewhere far away after I've trundled it over yonder. And pretty much everything that lives below about 20 feet down in the ocean. You get much out of dolphin diving depth, and all of a sudden, the entire world goes mad. I love it. I do love it so. But my God, and stars and liver and toes, there is some weird fucking shit in the water. Christ. And he made a, oh, you know what it is? He didn't have his second cup of coffee that morning. So by the time that one day when he made everything that crawleth upon the face of the earth and swimmeth in the seas and creepeth about among the roots of the plants and shit, he was working his way down. Like from the birds. You get the really pretty birds with the really pretty songs, and he worked his way all the way down to the ground and the uppermost layers of the ocean. And by the time he was filling in the gaps down at the bottom, he's just going, okay, fine, we're gonna have a light bulb on its nose, and it's gonna have an expandable jaw that's 20 times the size of its face, and that one can swim upside down, and that's either a plant or an animal, and I hadn't decided which, and I'm just going to let it go that way. And this is going to, yeah, how ecology disproves intelligent design, says Brainbug. Yeah. Greg Hardwick says it's a movable feast for the dung beetle. Yep. Yep. Brainbug says the savannah would be a very different and less fertile place without them. Yes, but if God could have just made it fertile ground. That's why this damn thing doesn't make any fucking sense. And Ox, coming from a very different tradition than I'm going to pull this up on the screen if I can find my cursor. Says, I was taught that the universe didn't get made or result from a Big Bang. We are taught that it always has been. I don't know enough about cosmology to start getting into that, to be perfectly honest, but it's certainly an interesting perspective, and it certainly stacks up against this pretty well. I kind of like it standing in opposition to especially the literal 7-day universe creation that the people like the NIFB and the National Prayer Breakfast folks and people like that like to stand up and do their young earth thing. That's one of the reasons we do what we do here, is just to point out the stupid in this book. Just point out the stupid and try to shine a little bit of a flashlight into the absolute abyssal darkness that results if you do try to live your life by this stupid fucking 3,000-year-old pile of Bronze Age mythology. Humph. All right, well, we're right at the top of the hour, but that was an odd-numbered chapter, and 18 is short. So we're going to do chapter 18, and then we'll wrap at that. Does that work for y'all? Let's see who's in trouble now. Chapter 18. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go, ye swift messengers, to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All ye inhabitants of the world, and dwellers on the earth, see ye, when he lifteth up an ensign on the mountains, and when he bloweth a trumpet, hear ye. For so the Lord said unto me, I will take my rest, And I will consider in my dwelling place, like a clear heat upon herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For afore the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches. They shall be left together unto the fowls of the mountains and to the beasts of the earth. And the fowls shall summer upon them, and the beasts of the earth shall winter upon them. In that time shall the present be brought unto the Lord of hosts of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden under foot, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to the place of the Lord of hosts, the Mount Zion. And that's chapter 18. And now we're reaching out to wreak God's vengeance and furious anger upon countries we don't even have names for. Just them over there beyond the Ethiopian River. Everybody gonna be smoked when Israel rises to reign supreme in the name of the Lord. That makes me uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. That we're smiting entire countries we don't even know the names of, just that people ride bulrush made out of boats over there. Jesus. Damn foreigners. Get off my lawn. Yep, Mark, you're entirely right. I need to make sure and mark out that chapter so we don't have a repeat of what happened back in Psalms that time. All right, we did 17, we did 18. I mean, that's xenophobia to a whole new level, isn't it? I don't even know who they are. I don't even know anything about them. I can't name any of their cities, but they're not like us. So they got to go in the name of the Most High. Just Yahweh waving his dick around, says Brainbug. And Brainbug is right. Yeah. So, very, very violent episode of Improv Bible Study today. A lot of people getting smoked without actually using the word. More's the pity. We've got a couple of smites in there. And folks who hadn't been with us since back in like Numbers don't have any idea what I'm going on about, do we? Hashtag the Smiters. There was a time in the history of the channel where it seemed like every third verb we encountered was smite, smoked, or smitten. And so we... Oh, God, that's this morning's coffee. It is cold as a motherfucker. Oh, Lord have mercy. So we decided to unite under the banner of the smite, and the joke stuck. And here we are today. As a matter of fact, I might even have a banner. There we go. For everything, there is a season. All right, take care, Mark. Be safe out there. All right. We are going to wrap it there. We've been going a little over an hour, hard as that is to believe. Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you all so much for gathering with us today. Appreciate all the new faces I see here. I love how engaged everybody is in the chat. Y'all know by now. And if you don't, you're about to hear it again for the first time, but not the last. It's the community building aspect of what we do that I really love more than anything else. And I love how we continue to grow and to make new relationships here in these wild and uncertain times. When do we get to the part with Brian, the true Messiah? I don't know. Maybe he's in the Book of Mormon. Y'all let me know what day and time would be the best time to start the Book of Mormon study, because old Junk Shop a little bit masochistic and can't wait to dive into more stupid scripture. Hey, for no reason, we're we're just wrapping up. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah. So tomorrow at 12 Eastern, at noon Eastern, I think, I'm going to be on the Rages channel. We're going to be raging about Matt Powell's stupid fucking movie, the new one, as distinct from his old stupid fucking movie, as distinct from his stupid fucking movie before that. This one is called The Atheist Religion. And in it, he blathers on at some length, setting up an elaborate and remarkably ugly straw man of atheism. There's a TIE fighter on the cover of the DVD. You heard me. Fuck if I know. It's Matt Powell. He's nuts. He's a bad person and he's crazy. I don't know what to tell you. Start over? The hell you say? No, little wolf, we are not going back through that hot mess again. We've already killed as many babies as we're going to today. All right. Well, as we always say before we roll out of here, everybody take care and be safe and stand against hate. And wear your fucking masks, y'all, because we're not out of this shit yet. See y'all again soon.